I survived the night with my port deaccessed. It really doesn't hurt at all when it's deaccessed. Like, I don't even feel it in there, so that's good. Which should go to say that when it is accessed, it really shouldn't hurt either. The fluids helped me feel a lot better. When I went to sleep, I wasn't having cramps anymore because my cramps are dehydration related, and my headache had gone away and my stomach was even less nauseous. But then they wore off pretty quickly and now I'm back to feeling like crap. The things we have to work on is, you know, the dosage. I discussed with my cardiologist. I might need to do fluids every day because when I first started doing fluids, I wasn't as dehydrated, and every other day worked, but on the days when I wasn't getting fluids, I felt pretty bad. So I was kind of assumed that I probably would have to up the dosage, but we wanted to start off on every other day just to see how that would work. So I'm probably just gonna feel like crap today until my infusion tomorrow. We have to call the nurses and see if they can get me a 1/2 inch needle because my pharmacy is closed until Monday. So like my pharmacy can't get that for me, but there's no way in hell I am letting them put like a needle in unless it is smaller. The one we used yesterday was 1 inch, and then she left some 3/4 of an inch needles. 1/2 inch is the smallest needle they make for the Huber needles, which are the type we're using. I'm gonna see if they can get me one of those. Or else I'll just guess I'll have to wait until Monday until my pharmacy can bring them because I'm just not putting up with that again. Anything you have to say?
So yeah, all the noise in the background is Rudy. He's trying to say hello too. There's a little squeaky toy. He's up and energetic now.
I woke up to puppy cuddles, so that was good.
Yeah.
Oh my god! My life is turning into a TV show drama. But so I'm like, after I finished vlogging and I uploaded the vlog for today, I start feeling like this weird sensation in my port. It almost felt like stinging mixed with itching, like on the incision. And I look down and the Band-Aid is coming off. The little bit left, it's coming off. And all of the everything, the scab, the glue, everything is coming off with the Band-Aid. Me and my brilliant medical degree, I got some sterile gauze and I put some pressure on it and I called the nurse, told the nurse what was going on. The nurse called the doctor and the doctor said, this sounds like a stupid kid's rhyme show, but trust me, it actually happened. The doctor said no more monkeys jumping on the bed. Well, this is the plan. We're gonna get steri strips, which are basically, think of like stitches, but they're outside your body. So they're the alternative to this glue. And we're gonna put steri strips on top of the glue. So I'm gonna have the glue, the Band-Aid, and the steri strips. And hopefully all of that should stay in place. And then the reason we're doing this is so that hopefully the port can still be accessed, and then tomorrow she's gonna access it so I can keep getting my fluids. Because the alternative plan would be to put Tegaderm on top of the glue and the Band-Aid, which would work equally and maybe even better than the steri strips, but the problem would be you wouldn't be able to access my port for a week until it's done healing. So we're gonna do that. So basically, ultimately, once I'm accessed and everything, I'm gonna have the glue, the Band-Aid, the steri strips, and the Tegaderm all covering that. And if that doesn't keep the scab in place, then God help me, I don't know what will. The nurse is gonna come around like 1 o'clock and she's going to do that. She's gonna clean it with some alcohol, you know, make sure everything's clean and everything. And then she's going to put the steri strips. I do not think she is going to access me today, but I am going to talk to her about getting a smaller needle because sure as hell I'm not letting them put a big ass needle in me again. And that is the plan. I finally have some good news. I am so happy. In February, I went to see a geneticist to confirm my diagnosis of Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and they confirmed that I definitely have a connective tissue disorder, most likely EDS, because at that point we didn't really have reason to believe that it was anything else. But they ran a tryptase test because they suspected that I might have some sort of mast cell or immunological condition that's causing all of these allergies to occur whenever I have a treatment option. Like whenever I try a new medication, I develop an allergy to it. And it's really problematic because I can't treat any of my conditions because I develop allergies to them. So this tryptase test was to show them if I had elevated tryptase. And tryptase is essentially the thing that activates your mast cells and creates allergens. Most people with mast cell issues will have elevated tryptase. So they ran this tryptase test, and this was in February, and I have heard nothing about it. And usually when I hear nothing about a test, it just means that it came back normal and they're not gonna really look into it. She called today though, and my tryptase was elevated. The weird thing is, it was like mildly elevated. Normal is 11 and mine was 13, and you can't really technically make a diagnosis of mast cell activation disorder unless you're 15 or higher on your tryptase test. So what they're going to do is they're referring me to an immunologist who knows about mast cell activation disorder, and they're gonna have them do a full workup on my immune system, because believe it or not, my immune system has never been checked out, because doctors were like, oh, you don't get sick every 5 seconds, so there's no way there's anything wrong with your immune system, even though when I was in school I did get sick a lot. It's just like I don't leave the house now, so how am I gonna get sick? And when I do leave the house, I wear a mask if I feel like I'm around someone who is sick. So that's really exciting, because it might actually mean that I don't have EDS necessarily. I still have a connective tissue disorder. You can't argue against that because of all my conditions, but it might be a secondary connective tissue disorder that my immune system has caused by degrading the connective tissue or causing a problem with my collagen. And so if they check my immune system and find something wrong with it, that means that, I mean, it just might give me a lot of answers, and it might even give me new treatment options like IVIG or mast cell inhibitors that will work better and help with all of my symptoms. Until then, they really want me to stay very strict on my IV fluid therapy for as long as possible, because they feel like that is really what's keeping my mast cells from acting up further and going into full-blown anaphylaxis. In fact, she was very concerned when I told her how my mast cells have kind of, or my allergies rather, have progressed the past few months. So, you know, IV fluid therapy, and so I get to see the rheumatologist, and hopefully the rheumatologist will run some tests, and thanks to this handy little guy here, they can actually draw my blood now, and we'll get some answers on what my immune system and my body is doing to me, and that is so exciting. I know it's probably difficult to understand if you're healthy why I would be excited about having another diagnosis, but when you're chronically ill, especially like with rare disorders, you hear so many times that nothing showed up, and so there's nothing they can do about you except for just wait for your disorder to progress. It gets really discouraging. And so when something finally shows up on a test and I might have an answer, it's super exciting and just really encouraging to know that, you know, there might be treatment out there that will work for me. The nurse came and it was pretty uneventful. She peeled off the band-aid, put some steri strips on the part of the scab that peeled off. Thankfully, not all of it peeled off, just this little part. It didn't bleed or anything when the scab came off, so that's a good sign that hopefully it'll heal, you know, pretty fine, because it was already pretty closed. And we're just gonna leave the steri strips on and let them fall off naturally like the glue. And then tomorrow when she accesses me, you know, that'll be an extra layer of protection. So hopefully, ouch, hopefully that will keep everything, you know, nice and together. So now Nate and I are going out because Nate's kind of hungry, and we're going to get some food because Nate's hungry. I'm going with him even though I'm not really hungry. I'm hoping smelling the food will make me hungry, and I'm gonna try to eat something.
He's gonna eat half my food probably.
Wish me luck. I did manage to eat some food, and now I have some pretty significant nausea, but it's not a big deal. It's my life. I am already really excited for the infusion tomorrow. I'm not feeling too great, and the fluids helped me feel so much better. So Nate and I just finished watching Chronically Jackie's vlog, or not vlog, sorry, live stream. I'll put her link up here, I think, is where it would be, or here. Listen, I'm not necessarily advocating to go and get your information from other people, because other people aren't always right, and I've certainly heard people give really bad misinformation about EDS over the internet, but Jackie has a portacath that she uses for IV fluids and some other things sometimes, and she is also very skinny. Nurse yesterday, when I told her that the needle was sticking out way too much, was like, oh, well, you're a tiny person. Let me tell you guys something. I'm considered clinically obese, like overweight, because I'm 4'10" and I weigh 140 pounds. I am not nearly as skinny as Jackie, and neither are these things. Not skinny. So that should not be a reason for a poor needle to stick out. And I'm like, if Jackie's needle doesn't stick out, sure as hell mine can't. It's like 900, almost 1,000 people on that chat, so I messaged like the same question every once in a while, hoping she'd answer it. She ultimately did. Her needle doesn't stick out, and she uses a 3/4 inch, and they put an inch-long needle in me. So, like I said, I don't necessarily advocate going with the exact information you get from the internet, but this does give me an idea of another person's experience with a port. I also did my own research. For lack of a better term, I Googled it. I looked what other nursing communities were saying, what chemo patients with ports were saying. 90% of the people that had ports for long periods of time said that their needle does not stick out. The few that said their needle does stick out, they said it sticks out a very small amount, and they can just like put a piece of gauze underneath it so it's not pressing on the back of the port. It gives me a perspective of what to expect when my port is accessed. She also said she doesn't feel the needle when it's in, which is a big thing for me because let me tell you guys, I could feel that needle. It felt like I was constantly being poked in the chest with the needle. It hurt, and it really shouldn't. I mean, obviously the port is still healing, so some tenderness in that area after accessing is normal, but it wasn't tenderness on the skin, like right here, where, you know, the tenderness would be, or even on the incision site. It was tenderness under the skin, as if the port was being jabbed in the stitches. It was very bad. Nate's also very excited because he got his question answered.
I asked if they were ticklish, just out of curiosity, because every now and then when Bethany's having a little bit of a rough day, I like to try and tickle her so she laughs and smiles, and so I thought I'd ask them just out of curiosity, and they answered it.
You know, the sad thing is, like, his question got answered when we typed it like twice. I was asking my port questions. I had to like type them so many times. Like, my stomach is doing this thing. I'm craving something, but I don't know what it is.
Rudy's here too.
So I guess we're gonna figure out maybe what to eat. We shall see. Figured out what my body is craving. Two things: fruit and salt water. One of these things is not going to settle well. Sailing more often in the afternoon, and my heart rate started getting really high like it was yesterday, and that's why I think I'm kind of craving the salt water. I think my body's just like, I don't want to say in shock, but it's just like it wants more of the saline after so many months of not being able to get it. So I'm gonna have to call my cardiologist on Monday and have her up my dosage. Because of my gastroparesis, fruit does not digest in my stomach well, or at all sometimes. So I usually can't eat fruit, and today is probably no different. I'll probably be in a lot of pain and bloating after I eat this. But sometimes when you have a chronic illness, you just like, I don't know, you decide to do stuff even though it's gonna flare up your symptoms. This is pretty low risk. Worst case scenario, I vomit some, and I have IV fluids tomorrow, so I don't have to stress about getting myself too dehydrated. You know, because I'm on my period, fruit is really good. It's got a lot of vitamins that can help with pain and cramping, so. Okie dokie guys, after yet another pretty stressful day with loads of port problems, I am going to go to bed and get some sleep, and the nurse should be here pretty early in the morning tomorrow so that she can access my port and give me more fluids. And then I'll contact the cardiologist on Monday and discuss my dosage with her, since I seem to be probably needing a little bit more than every other day fluids. Thank you for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe to my channel. I will see you guys tomorrow. Good night.